straight convincing win. What plays you most about that performance today?
Probably simplicity in the performance. It was really the pressure around the ball and ability to be able to get after him was really pleasing. Through the third quarter, they were able to get out a little bit more, but I'd say in the main we sort of stuck to the task of making it as difficult as you possibly can for them to be able to move the ball and move it with any fluency. And I guess we sort of thought that if they got it on the outside, then they'd cause some troubles for us. But obviously we were really strong around contest for most of the day, and we were able to play a little bit more of the game in our half.
It seemed like a really even team performance as well. You had a stack of contributors right across the board. Is that really pleasing as well?
Yeah, it is, and that's been true for the last couple of weeks. And I guess we're sort of taking a bit more of a sharing the load and taking our turn when we need to, and seeing some more midfielders roll through the middle of the ground. Probably not just the stock players that you've seen through there. So as a result of that, we're getting some really good outcomes. But it's been off the back of probably some really good pressure and some really good selfless, really good teammate behaviour.
Almost everyone's had issues coming out of the bye. We saw some teams yesterday deal with it. What did you guys do this week to ensure that you dealt with the bye? Look, your first half was huge. What did you do this week?
I'd like to say that we did something different to what everyone else has done, but I think everyone's been really conscious of it. And likewise us. Look, I think what we get to do is just look after the controllables, and that's how we train and prepare. And we've got nothing to rest our laurels on. We've got a season ahead of us, and we've got some games we want to impact. And we've been pretty determined to be able to turn some in different form around and get a clearer picture on what our style looks like. So I guess when you put that forward and you've got some things to work on, and the guys are committed in making that change, then hopefully you get more performances like that.
Michael, you've kicked more goals in the last 2 games combined than you did in the previous 5 combined.
Is that a positive you're giving me? Or
I think it is.
That is?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can take it
Yeah, that's all right. I'll take it as a positive for now. Yeah.
So the question is this the kind of style that your fans can expect pretty much from here on in? Have you turned the corner in a way?
I hope so, but it hasn't been because we've put a greater emphasis on our offence. You've asked me that question a lot, and we've been pretty firm on what our direction needed to look like, and it was going to be making sure we defended really well. We celebrated more the 5 points that were kicked than necessarily the goals that we scored. Some of the selfless behaviour by, getting better shot selection, and that in our front half was important. But, I think we sort of come in at half time and celebrated the 5 points more so than necessarily the score we kicked.
Talking about that offence, Harry McCoy today was a pretty dominant figure. How pleased were you with his performance?
Yeah, and he's. I think if you're sort of talking about guys individually that have just turned around some form, he's certainly been one of them. And he's playing that more assertive and more presence in his game. And he's not alone. There's a few guys that have, but it's been really good to be able to see that turn around for him. He had to work through a lot of stuff, and we get faced with challenges at times, and we've got to show a little bit of resilience and work out what's really important to us, and then get to work on it. He's done that. So really pleased that he's been able to sort of, put that aside and then sort of change his game around. And there's been a few guys that have been in the same boat, to be fair.
Do you want to throw some names up?
Cripper's been another one. He's been really good. I think Charlie's also played some good footy, and I guess Weeders has been in great form the last month or so. 5-6 weeks. He's been sensational the way that he's gone about it. So our midfield brigade, if you talk about them as a unit, they've started to get themselves going again. Starting to see those balls and that pressure and contest around the contest more than what we have probably in the first half of the year.
You mentioned Cripps there. He was running with the ball a little bit more today. Perhaps he has a little here. Has there been any change with him that sort of helped him get freer, I guess, with the ball in the hand?
I'd like to say so, but I think it's just been. If I look at what the mids were able to do today, we had minus 36 hit outs and we had plus 11 first possessions and we had plus 5 clearance. That is when the ball's on the ground, you're prepared to get your hands dirty. So we've been able to take that game the last few weeks, and we saw little bits of it in previous games before the results started to turn. But that's been the primary focus. So as a result of that, you become hopefully a little bit more dynamic off it.
You mentioned Ruckman available for a trip to Perth, obviously.
We hope so. They're both in test, so they're a bit banged up, both with knees. So it's still a wait and see, but we're hoping that they'll be available for selection. Whether we choose to select them or not, we'll obviously make a a decision later in the week.
How close was Dakota? I mean, you brought him out today, but it sounded like...
We actually held him for a little bit, did a bit of a test yesterday, and then we're sort of waiting to see how he pulled up, and didn't pull up necessarily how we'd like, so we didn't bother to take a risk when it come to him.
He was down in makeshift ruck situation as
Well, and again, the hit-outs were there, but we were able to at least neutralise some of that. And I thought Youngie and Sauce were, battled manfully in terms of the roles that they were given. And so, I think a really strong quality of this group in the past has been about the next man in and getting the job done. And that probably hasn't been necessarily a big focus of ours in particularly the first, 9-10 rounds, as we would have liked. But that's changed. That's absolutely changed. So the next man in was Youngie, and he was able to compete, and the next man in was Sauce, and he did a great job.
Just the performance of David Cunningham, he's obviously well documented his battles to get back into the team, but he seemed to be really influential in the first half when the game was up for grabs. How pleasing is it to see him play so well and have such an impact?
Yeah, it is. There's two guys, Jack Martin and obviously Cunningham's been able to come in the side, so they've just changed the look. They're strong in the air, both of them, but they're also dynamic in the way that they play. So, no, he's been really good for us. Cunningham's, he's only going to get better. He hasn't played, as you know, he hasn't played a lot of footy in the last couple of years. So, to have Jack Martin out there, he makes a difference to us. And, being able to see the last couple of weeks and see Cunningham's, what he's been able to do, and the mix he's been able to add to our midfield group has been, something that we've needed.
Jacob Wiedering report, did you see the incident? Have you spoken to Jacob about what happened?
I didn't see the direct incident, but what I saw was him holding his chest. So I doesn't look like that classifies as high to me, but I saw a great chest, but that's about as much as I saw.
Have you spoken to Jacob?
He's fairly comfortable with where it lies. So I reckon he's pretty upfront when it comes to these sorts of things. So I'll certainly back that man in.
Do you think they should avoid match day reports when they're not 100% certain
Yes.
in situations like that?
Absolutely. It's got the MRO for. So if there's any doubt, just wait. It won't get missed, I guarantee you.
Just on Jack Martin, how have you got him up and going? That's probably the best game I've seen him play under your watch. There's some issues with his body, his form. How have you got him up and going again?
I think it's just his ability to be able to repeat his training, and we've had some patience around that, and he's had to have some patience around that, and he's had some frustration around that as well. So to be able to sort of see, the work that he's done over the last 5 or 6 weeks, but he adds a different mix to us up forward. He's a forward threat. He's tough. He's tough as see that contest that he went for on the wing. I don't know another Jack Martin. That's what he brings to us, and and as a result of that becomes quite infectious when you see players attack the ball like that, because the next man in has got a big responsibility that he goes hard as well. So we sort of draw energy off that. So to have players like Jack in there and for him to be able to hit the scoreboard, he did today. I thought he did. His previous couple of games were good, and but today was better again.
You're only 6 points outside the top 8.
No, don't go there. Yeah, didn't take long. How many questions was that? It was about 8, and then we're now in. Right, we've won the grand final. Tick. No worries. No, I think we're not even going there. We've got a fair bit of work to go in the game. You haven't even asked the question. I know where you're going. So, no, I think we'll leave that alone. I think you'll know my answer as well.
The other question.
Oh, okay, you're going to go again.
There is a question.
Right,
There is a question.
okay. No, I'm listening.
Fair assumption, though. Fair assumption, but
go.
a little bit off. But what I was going to ask was, is it good to have that, because the competition's so tight, as we know.
Yeah.
Is it just good, heading into the second half of the season, you do have a carrot for the players. I know you're not looking too far, but it's not, you're not that far out, kind of.
Yeah. Our carrot is to get better against us. And that's, we have to find ways to improve, because where we've been, we haven't been good enough. So our competition exists with how we want to get better with our things, so the way that we want to be able to play and the roles that we want to be able to do it at. And that's where our competition lies right now. And if we can find the full version of that, I know we'll be okay. And if that puts us in with a shout, well, it puts us in with a shout. But it won't be the focus for us. We'll stay completely present. We've got a really big game coming up next. And we're also, through the other period is just to celebrate our wins and enjoy this little moment. And then we get back in on Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'll look forward to our next opponent.
What was the thinking behind subbing Charlie Curnow? Any issues there?
No, he's ill coming into the game. So he had a little bit of illness. So we're just sort of, in the end, I guess when we sort of finished off the there he had the shot on goal. He kicked the goal, didn't he? And then we decided to sub him. So we sort of felt like that was probably the right time to obviously give him the rest.
To pull up okay for that, he seemed to take a mark early and looked like he was.
Yeah, he pulled up okay. Yeah. No, he brought a little bit of illness, nothing too significant. It's just, a bit grumbly. So we just sort of thought we'd, because we were in the position to do it, we could do it. So we chose to. Thanks for your time. Thank you.